go from there, shall we? Of course, no Sif Muna abilities quite yet, so I'm not going to pivot into invocations until we get a little bit closer to that being on the menu. Wand of Paralysis could very well do me in. But it's tempting for sure to fight Maggie. As long as we have the damage output, Maggie isn't too much of an issue. Only 60 health can kind of get burned through in quick succession. Oh, and I didn't realize wands actually show up in the monster descriptions here. So 39% chance to get paralyzed if they decide to use the wand. Definitely much, much higher than I am comfortable with. But does that mean I'm going to respect this? Not necessarily. Especially since we can soften up Maggie from afar here. And then as soon as they get in range, blast that Scorch out there. Fantastic. And Steam Dragon Scales, oftentimes an instant swap for a caster. Looking at the regen here, is it worth it? Probably not at the moment. You know, we're actually not really set up to do extended encounters. We're already in trouble because we'll be out of magic points long before health becomes an issue. Or at least one would hope. So with that in mind, I think this is potentially... Oh my gosh. Bogart, you say? Well, I get blasted a little bit here, but I think it's worth it to just ensure we get a nice boom on our two-headed friend as well. Yikes. As we next come across the Centaur Warrior, but this is where hopefully consumables come into play. Only 31% chance of happening, but I'm hoping. Oh, me oh my, last charge. I mean, there's no way I can run away. Probably what I should have done earlier in this encounter is used our one Curari Dart to try to finagle some good fortune. And, oh, jeez Louise, that paralyzed did not last as long as I'd hoped. Oh, it is not my day for DCSS. I guess that one at least went the tiniest bit longer, but yikes. Let's just jump in from the top once more here and see if we can't finagle things to be a little bit more our speed, shall we? Oh me oh my. I'm gonna put the spellcasting goal here slightly lower than we did last time. In fact, let us put fire magic up to 10 since that trains along very rapidly as we make our way through here. Holy moly. Well, hey, let's go in once again from the top here. New seed, new dungeon, new me. And see how she goes, shall we? Maybe, just maybe. We can get our feet under us a bit earlier. This is where I could very easily, I think, finagle my way into completely blaming the shaft trap for our recent unsuccessful attempt. But at the end of the day, I think we definitely could have handled things a little bit more straight or carefully, I guess, is what my brain was trying to supply for me there. Falling apart at the seams. Yes, what else is new? It is a Sunday stream, and it is yours truly hosting it. So, inevitable that there's going to be some amount of losing your mind live on air, but hey, as long as we can get through the run, it was all worth it. Right, folks? It's Zot or death. But okay, we'll take a look here. Vehumet, Ignis, and Gozag. If we weren't in the middle of our polytheist attempts here, then I'd be very tempted to try out that altar. Behemoth and Ignis could both be a pretty solid fit. I guess Ignis, maybe not so much. Behemoth and Gozag, two of my favorite spellcaster deities. But hey, let's not worry too much about that in this run, of course. We are aiming for Sif Muna once again. And if they don't show up, then I guess we'll have to play by ear and see how things are going. Hey, Korean Knife, it's your favorite ASMR streamer. I appreciate that, thanks. I'm definitely, even after years and years of occasionally having to listen to myself speak by doing my very, very limited video editing, I'm still not at the point of loving to listen to myself. Don't know if I'll ever really get there, but I'm at least not immediately put off and upset when I hear my own voice speaking. So we've grown, progress. I'm glad that others don't share the same opinions, though I think obviously that's fairly normal. I know most of us hate to hear ourselves talk because we sound oh so lovely in our own heads. And getting a taste of what others may or may not be hearing can oftentimes feel a little bit bleh. But okie dokie, this looks like Robin if I had to guess. So we'll try to drag things out slightly and bring our friends along for the ride. In fact, I would definitely like to at least be maxed out on our magic before Robin themselves decides to pop around and say hello. If only we still had Conjure Flame. Then that would be a nice, easy, if not solution, then at least path forward in this encounter. But as is, I still have a sneaking suspicion that every little thing is going to be alright. And to that end, we will take these sons of guns on a little bit of a world tour. Haven't you always wanted to see more of the dungeon? Well, here's your chance. Come along for the ride and see what magic there is to behold in the far reaches of your very own home. Staycation that all the monsters don't need, but definitely deserve. And fantastic, not too shabby of a start here. Getting pretty solid experience overall. Up to level 4 in D2 is always pretty fantastic as a little bit of a mini milestone, shall we say. But let's find out what our goblin pal here had in store. Dagger Venom, almost definitely worth swapping up to. Again, always very strong to get a Venom branded weapon in the early dungeon. Though hopefully, if all goes according to plan, we won't have to use it too much. Generally not the go-to strategy on our little caster buddies here, but for the time being, looking pretty dang solid across the board. You, my friend, can definitely take care of the old-fashioned way. Ooh, in a weapon shop. I was about to say, I don't know if there's a lot here that would really leap out to me except a stat stick. And this Lagitang, I'd say is a stat stick. You know, if we're swinging our weapon, we're already at wit's end. So the rage, maybe not the end of the world, even though it's not exactly ideal for a caster character. And in fact, we could kind of almost hope to induce the rage when we do have to resort to our final tactics. Because a speed Lagitang, well raged to the furthest extent, should be pretty fantastic. And otherwise though, resist poison, resist corrosion, and intelligence +3 makes that a very valuable stat stick to just lug around and not plan to use in any kind of melee capacity. And so hopefully we live long enough to see ourselves making the bank required to purchase just such an accoutrement, shall we? And not too shabby here. We should go back in and learn a few more of our options. Volatile blast motes could be interesting. Ooh, and we're not good enough for Flame Wave yet. What the heck was I thinking? So I could enchant the Lagitang? I could. Yeah, exactly. That is the other big selling point of our dwarven friends here. I guess they'd probably even set it on the Lagitang if I was paying enough attention to actually take a little bit of a look-see-loo there, and I will just run away from our orc pals, not feeling quite up to snuff when it comes to dealing with those priests, specifically when you're still in the range of getting almost two-shot by smites. Probably not exactly the most optimal conditions, though apparently dungeon's not going to give us much of an excuse to not hang out with these kiddos. Okay, just the orc priests by themselves, on the other hand, that I don't mind quite so much. Okay, I thought I was going to immediately live to regret those words. Shame on me for speaking confidently as the enemy approaches, of course, but nonetheless, not the end of the world here, and we should actually check in. It's probably worth it to swap up to leather immediately, right? It doesn't really impact our spellcasting chances at all. I mean, you alone, not the end of the world, especially if we get a little bit lucky there with our damage rolls. Fantastic. Yeah, only D4, hey? Still plenty of runway to go. Blade Talisman again here, and of course, gotta love finding those early bardings. When you're unable to take advantage of them, couldn't ever be me playing an actual like pangolin or Naga run, but such are the whims and wills of the dungeon, I guess. But with some level ups under our belt here, we should be ready to bring Flame Wave into the selection of options for us here, though it's unlikely to be seeing much action. At least not quite yet, not in the near future. Eventually, though. Bread and butter, specifically for when we get to the lair section of the run. Nothing hits quite like scorching an entire yak pack down to their fluffs. Storm Dragon armor. Well, howdy do. And that would bring our defenses up, so let me take a quick peek at just how detrimental this is to our continued casting, shall we? Definitely a bit too heavy for us, but we still have Foxfire and Scorch. It's not like we really have the mana pool to be relying on Blast Motes or Flame Wave yet, so I think I'm actually okay with this. And we'll see if we do or don't live long enough to regret this course of action, shall we? But we can rely a little bit more on our stabbing ability here, and that does, I guess, help us overall with our continued survival in the face of many enemies. So encumbrance rating of 15 down to 10. So encumbrance is a lot better. We get fire resistance, and honestly, defense is still looking good, especially with that evasion increase. So as cool as it is to find Storm Dragon scales on the first 5 floors of the dungeon, I think it's probably in our best interest to aim for something a bit more like this, shall we? And that fire resistance actually should do quite nicely with blast motes, because we can use them as little escapee landmines as we make our way onwards and upwards for glory. But I guess only time will tell. We shall see what the dungeon has in store for us here today. Okie dokie. Well, we do have Sif again, and I think I'm still leading that direction. In fact, we have most of the gods here. I feel like we haven't captured yet. Zin, Ellie, Sif, Fedas, Ash, even Kiku is on that list as well. But as mentioned, for the time being, I think I like the thematic aspect as well as some of the mechanical advantages of going with Sif Muna on this character, so let's do so, shall we? Give it ye old college try. Oh, hello, all my friends. An extra planar early section of the dungeon here, apparently. But nothing we can't handle, nothing we can't take care of. Beautiful. And not too shabby. We are all the way to D6 now, so I should be a little cognizant of sketchier enemies making an appearance at some point here. But hopefully, won't have to deal with any such nonsense. For the time being, +1 pair of gloves. Don't mind if I do. We'll throw those bad boys on. In fact, let's get rid of some of the trash in our inventory. Inevitably to be replaced with even more trash in the future, but for the moment here, I think that works out quite nicely. +3 short sword. If I could get something with an enchantment on it, then that would be very tempting to make the swap into, but for the moment here, I think I don't mind too much. Sticking to our guns. The dagger is nice because even without any training, we're still attacking once per turn, and so that keeps us generally competitive with all, enemies that are significantly weaker than us. We're being completely fair, but still, on some level, in some way, shape, and or fashion, we are keeping competitive here. Oh, and another Lagitang. Well, Dungeon is definitely trying to send some hints our direction. But okay, we're up to almost 300 gold, so still a ways to go. Yikes, this is not going to be a challenge, but boy, is it going to be slightly annoying. Those were a lot of dispersal darts, friends. How about that? Well. And I guess in a rare turn of events here, I actually remembered on my own that I probably should update stream title here, so let's I have nothing good to say. Where's the Muna? Does that make sense? Does that reference make any sense when it's already removed multiple times from what's actually been stated? Probably not, but let's not worry too much about that. Show me the Muna. There we go. I think that one translates a little bit better. Essentially what I was aiming for on some level, or at least what was tickling the back of my brain, was just, where's my Muna, Lebowski? That's the be-all end-all of that. But I like that. I am going to steal that. Show me the Muna is so much better. This is why we outsource all of our naming and titling to the community, because all of you are much more clever and hip and with it than I have any hope to be. But okie dokie. Okay, we do get an early amulet. I feel like I've been playing too many Coglins. I see an amulet and I sleep, but honestly, that could very easily be our ticket here. So throw that bad boy on. No, now you have to go watch The Big Lebowski again. It's been a long time since I saw it, but still very easily lives rent-free in my brain. Okie dokie, let's pop around a corner real quick like here. What kind of halberd were you dealing with? Ah. Heavy brand? That is gonna do it. And I think we can face off against a single null here. Much better than just wandering, or rather continuing our wander into the unknown. So with that in mind, not too shabby here. And +4 mace. Okay, that's getting up there to being almost worth the swap from our current dagger. Sure, we'd be attacking a lot slower, but the to hit and damage bonus from +4 starting to look mighty nice. I guess we do have a +2, so maybe I should keep that in mind. But okie dokie, an elephant, hey folks? This is actually not a good spot. I would have been blown off the stairwell and immediately regretted all of the decisions I made to get to that point in my life. Thanks, Eric, for that reminder as well. Should definitely have already ID'd by this stage. But hey, no time like the present. Never too late. As long as we're still kicking, which, at least for this brief moment in time, is the case. And, oh my gosh, we have 4 scrolls of blinking. Oh, and I thought our 6 scroll stack was going to be our teleportation based on rarity, but apparently such is not the case. So I will actually ID them. Oh, no, don't accidentally read fear. Thank you, DCSS, for catching me in my own stupidity there. Fantastic. Okay. There's a good blind corner for dealing with any kind of orc priest shenanigans that can come our way. Beautiful. Still have an angry elephant wandering about somewhere. There you are, you son of a gun. This doesn't do great for us. I guess if we had given you fire vulnerability first, that probably would have had things shaken out a bit more beneficially for ourselves, but hey, I'm not exactly gonna complain. And let's see, sure, I don't have any poison resistance, but I hate to break it to you, my insect pals, neither do you. So fight fire with fire there, bit of poison action across the board. We are up to 348. We're just about to the halfway marker of being able to grab that Lagitang. So here's hoping that we live long enough to see such a future come to pass. And you know what, I will just walk away from you, my friend. You're far enough that we can actually get, for once, a bit of a safe blast mode. Or just murder you outright before that becomes a factor. That also works fine by me. We'll grab a +4 spear. That could very easily make itself useful. Okay, I was about to say this paralysis sting could be a little bit nasty for us to handle, but not too shabby right off the bat here. And let's train some fighting. I think we're just about to the point of wanting invocations coming up as well. Then maybe before we get too hasty, let's actually take a peek. And yeah, can confirm we have channel magic. That's essentially when you want to get your info online. In fact, probably could have been online already by this stage, so we had that available, but I'm not going to complain too much one way or another.